Prime Minister Narendra Modi announces comprehensive economic package of rupees 20 lakh crore. Says package for farmers, workers, middle class and industry. Prime Minister gives clarion call for self-reliant India, lays down 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Prime Minister says lockdown 4 will have completely different contours with new set of rules incorporating suggestions from states. Says details will be shared before 18th of May. Railways begins passenger train services on 15 selected routes. Delhi to Bilaspur train becomes the first passenger train to again hit the tracks. Tickets only on IRCTC website or on the mobile app. Only confirmed ticket holders allowed at the railway stations. Shramik trains continue to ferry migrant labourers and stranded passengers back home. Vande Bharat mission continues to bring home stranded Indians from various countries. Second phase of the mission will be launched from 16th to 22nd of May to bring back Indians from 31 countries. INS Magar brings home 202 Indians as part of Samudra Setu operation. Active COVID-19 cases across the nation rise to 46,008 with 22,454 recoveries and 2,293 fatalities. Union Health Minister says recovery rate is getting better every day and currently stands at 31.7%. COVID-19 cases continue to increase globally with more than 42 lakh confirmed cases and over 2.91 lakh deaths. The world sees more than 14.8 lakh recoveries. US remains the worst hit country with over 82,000 deaths, followed by United Kingdom, Italy and France. And in some other developments, India strongly condemns the barbaric terror attack on civilians in Afghanistan, which killed at least 36 people. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani orders the military to move to offensive mode after violent attacks on maternity clinic and funeral ceremony. Good morning. You're watching DD News and I'm Preeti presenting the bulletin. Our top story first. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the nation yesterday announcing lockdown 4. He announced an economic package worth 20 lakh crore rupees.
आज एक विशेष आर्थिक पैकेज की घोषणा कर रहा हूं। हाल में सरकार ने कोरोना संकट से जुड़ी जो आर्थिक घोषणाएं की थी, जो रिजर्व बैंक के फैसले थे और आज जिस आर्थिक पैकेज का ऐलान हो रहा है, उसे जोड़ दें तो ये करीब करीब 20 लाख करोड़ रुपए का है। इन सबके जरिए देश के विभिन्न वर्गों को आर्थिक व्यवस्था की कड़ियों को 20 लाख करोड़ रुपए का संबल मिलेगा, सपोर्ट मिलेगा। 20 लाख करोड़ रुपए का एक पैकेज 2020 में देश की विकास यात्रा को 20 लाख 2020 में आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान को एक नई गति देगा।
Prime Minister also said that this package aims to make India self-reliant. It will strengthen industry at all the levels, right from cottage industries to MSMEs.
आत्मनिर्भर भारत के संकल्प को सिद्ध करने के लिए इस पैकेज में लैंड, लेबर, लिक्विडिटी और लॉज सभी पर बल दिया गया है। ये आर्थिक पैकेज हमारे कुटीर उद्योग, गृह उद्योग, हमारे लघु मंझोले उद्योग, हमारे एमएसएमई के लिए हैं, जो करोड़ों लोगों की आजीविका का साधन है, जो आत्मनिर्भर भारत के हमारे संकल्प का मजबूत आधार है।
And up next, we get you 10 important takeaways of Prime Minister's address yesterday. 20 lakh crore rupees as an economic package has been announced for farmers, shramiks, tax-paying middle class and industry. Economic package worth nearly 10% of India's GDP. There is something for all in the economic package, including poor, shramik, migrants, unorganized and organized sectors. Also, the Prime Minister gave the mantra of vocal for local to ensure robust supply chain. The Prime Minister also stressed on making India self-reliant. Economic reforms over 6 years have given India a strong foundation. The Prime Minister focused on strengthening land, labour, liquidity and laws. He also said that 21st century is India's century. India has emerged as a leader in global battle against COVID-19. The economy-centric globalization versus globalization with a human face is what the Prime Minister focused on yesterday. He also said that Lockdown 4 will take a new form with new guidelines and suggestions from states. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu has welcomed 20 lakh crore rupees stimulus package announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to revive the economy, boost efficiency of various sectors through reforms and make India self-reliant and resilient. The Vice President said that bold reforms are the need of the hour to realize the dream of Atmanirbhar Bharat. I am confident that a focused approach on the 5 pillars, that is economy, infrastructure, technology-driven system, vibrant demography and demand, will promote local industries-led growth while making India face global competition effectively. I'm certain that this timely economic package will go a long way in overcoming the challenges posed by the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will be giving the roadmap on Prime Minister's mega economic package today. And to let us know more about it, we are joined in by our correspondent Ajay Mishra. Ajay, just a while back we apprised the viewers with the important takeaways of the Prime Minister's address yesterday, and he talked of how the Finance Minister today will spell out the roadmap for the economic package. Now, earlier also during the lockdown we saw package was already announced, and this time we see that another package, the biggest which the Indian economy will see. Let us know what are the concerns which prompted the government to come out with this second package first, and what would be the key areas which would be in focus when the Finance Minister today spells out the roadmap.
So, Preeti, good morning. When the first package was announced, it was of the amount of 1.7 lakh crore rupees. It was mainly for those who were living on the edges, and they had no means to actually sustain their livelihood after the lockdown. It was meant for Manrega laborers. It was meant for poor who had no access to the basic essential items. It was a package for the farmers in terms of PM Kisan, which was advanced payment to the farmers of this country. So the first package was just for the marginalized and for those who were actually most in need. Going forward, RBI also announced some of the liquidity packages for specific sectors, for example, infrastructure, for example, MSME and NBFCs. Going forward, I think this will also, the new package that the details of which the Finance Minister will spell out starting from today, will be for the different sectors. As we know that the most of the sectors are still in the crisis, and MSME is going to be the main focus because it is the backbone of both domestic economies and the supply chain to our export sector. So that's number one. Secondly, going forward, I think there will be more focus on the infrastructure development. There is already an infrastructure pipeline, which the Prime Minister has said that there has to be a high-level meeting on that, and how to revive infrastructure is going to be the key sector. And also the technology-driven Make in India focus, which which is going to make the India self-reliant in some of the sectors is going to be another focus of this 20 lakh crore rupees package. So the details are yet to come out, but these are the broader points that we can think of, that the MSME sector, the manufacturing, the infrastructure, as well as the technology-driven ecosystem will get a major boost.
All right, Ajay, yesterday the Prime Minister talked of a self-reliant India. He laid emphasis on Atmanirbharta. Now, given the trying times we are facing because of COVID-19 at present, explain to us in detail the vision of the Prime Minister.
So, what it does mean by the self-reliant is that some of the non-necessary imports that we are currently doing from countries like China and other countries, can they be manufactured here in India? For example, we are using agarbattis in our homes, and almost 3,000 crore to 4,000 crore rupees of bamboo stick is being imported from China. That's really non-essential items which should be manufactured in India domestically, which can give boost to the local industries as well as to the local employment. Actually, what happened that the traders in India find actually the good quality imported items rather than manufactured in India, which was cost effective in terms of their profit making. So they actually tilted towards the imports from other countries rather than the manufactured items from China. So here are the opportunities that that some of the essential items which can be manufactured here in India needs to be manufactured, and that will be a focus. And also, the Prime Minister is talking about the land reforms. He is talking about the labor reforms, which is currently in the realm of the state governments. So going forward, the responsibilities of the state governments are going to be huge in terms of policy formation, in terms of their attractiveness for the investment, both from domestic companies as well as from the foreign companies. We know that almost 8 to 9 lakh crore rupees cash is pending with the domestic industry. They're not actually investing at this point in time because of the policy problems and other infrastructural issues in the different parts of the country. So the state governments had to firm up their readiness in terms of infrastructure to actually attract the investment from domestic and foreign investors, and then actually give the local opportunity for the local employment. That's what he means. It is not that from tomorrow India will stop buying Samsung and iPod and iPhones from tomorrow. But going forward, if you just take an example of mobile and electronics, we are the second largest importer of electronics after oil. And in 2014, there were just 2 companies of mobile manufacturing. India raised the custom duty on mobile equipments, and now we have 120, more than 120 companies actually manufacturing those mobiles here in India. So this is what Prime Minister's focus is on, that India can be self-reliant in terms of manufacturing some of the essential items, which is not currently not being manufactured here. So that's a key focus going forward, Preeti.
All right, Ajay, thank you so much for joining us and getting us those details on the economic package, the roadmap of which will be announced by the Finance Minister today. We'll keep you updated. Meanwhile, let's get to other news. The railways restarted passenger train services on Tuesday on 15 select routes. Now, there were no counter ticket sales, and they were available only on the IRCTC website or on the mobile app. Only confirmed ticket holders were allowed to access railway platforms. All passengers should be wearing face covers or masks at the entry and during their travel. Only passengers who are found asymptomatic will be permitted to travel. Passengers have to ensure social distancing both at the station and in the trains. On arrival at their destination, the passengers will have to follow all the health protocols decided by the state governments. In addition to special passenger train services, Shramik Express trains are also functional in the country. Migrant workers from different parts of the country continue to reach their homes through Shramik Express trains. A total of 542 Shramik special trains have been operated by the railways since the 1st of May, taking over 6 lakh workers to their homes. One of the 2 flights to Delhi from United Arab Emirates under Vande Bharat mission to repatriate Indians today were postponed by a day for operational reasons. This flight will now operate tomorrow. The Vande Bharat mission, that is the biggest ever exercise of evacuation undertaken anywhere in the world, has been going on smoothly since it began on 7th of this month. Thousands of Indians have been flown back to India in the flights operated by Air India and Air India Express under Vande Bharat mission. Now, according to the sources in Ministry of External Affairs, the second phase of this mission will be launched from 16th of May till 22nd. It will bring back Indians from 31 countries. 149 flights, including feeder flights, will be operated. Flights from Russia, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, Germany, Netherlands, France, Spain and Thailand have been added to the list of the countries in Phase 1. The states and union territories covered in the Phase 2 are Kerala, Delhi, Karnataka, Telangana, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, Punjab, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh and Chandigarh. Flights have also been scheduled for Jaipur and Mumbai. The Minister of Civil Aviation on Tuesday announced a clarification over the reported standard operating procedure for restarting of the aviation post-lockdown, and also it said that it is yet to be finalized. Earlier, the ministry had issued a draft of the standard operating procedure to all the aviation stakeholders, including airlines and airport operators, before the resumption of domestic commercial flight operations. The ministry has asked airlines and airport operators to respond on the draft SOP. INS Magar deployed by Indian Navy for next phase of repatriation of Indian citizens from Maldives as part of Operation Samudra Setu under Vande Bharat mission entered Kochi on Tuesday along with 202 Indian nationals, which included 23 women and 3 children. The ship had sailed from Maldives late evening on 10th May, and despite the inclement weather and rough seas, the ship's crew left no stone unturned to ensure the comfort of the Indian nationals brought on board, mostly from Kerala and Tamil Nadu. The repatriation was conducted in accordance with standard operating procedure prepared by the central government and factoring all possible contingencies. All precautions for infection control on ships in conjunction with isolation and quarantine protocols for crew were ensured. The ship was received at Samudrika Cruise Terminal by the state, who had streamlined the elaborate process of all the mandatory health and immigration procedures and also made extensive arrangements for speedy disembarkation, health screening, immigration and transportation for the evacuated Indian nationals. With the completion of the first phase of Vande Bharat mission, Indian Navy has successfully brought back a total of 900 Indian nationals from Maldives. INS Jalashwa would be proceeding to Maldives for the next phase of repatriation of approximately 700 Indian nationals, which will start from 15th of May. Let's get you an update on the global spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus has now killed over 2.91 lakh people, while 42.55 lakh people are confirmed to have been infected worldwide. The world's worst hit country, that is US, has over 13.67 lakh infections and over 82,000 deaths, and it seems to be coping up speedily, with many states beginning opening up in recent days. But the experts say that virus is not fully under control. President Trump, who is desperately seeking to reboot the economy ahead of November elections, said that the US was making tremendous strides in ramping up testing and the number of virus infections is coming down very rapidly. The epicenter of the outbreak in the United States, that is New York City, people are mostly indoors for the past 2 months. City mayor has said that restrictions on social life and non-essential businesses will likely remain in place until next month, as Governor Cuomo announced that 3 regions in New York State could start reopening their economies this weekend. The governor also called on Congress to craft a federal stimulus package that funds police officers, teachers and other employees of the states, in spite of giving it to executives and big companies. Meanwhile, the virus has gained a foothold in White House over the weekend. One of the infected persons is Vice President Mike Pence's press secretary, Katie Miller, and thus Pence is keeping his distance from President Trump for a few days. A personal military volley to the president was earlier tested positive. Russia has confirmed 232,000 cases of COVID-19. Now, this is the second highest toll in the world after the US. In the last 24 hours, the country has reported 10,899 infections. That is the 10th consecutive day that the number has been above 10,000. A glimmer of hope, however, is that despite the high number of confirmed cases, the country's death toll is only 2,116. Following President Putin easing the country's lockdown, authorities in Moscow have extended self-isolation measures in the capital until the end of May, but have allowed industry and construction work to resume this week. President Putin had given regions freedom to set restrictions depending on local circumstances. Meanwhile, the high-profile cases include Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin, who was diagnosed 2 weeks ago, and President Putin's spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, who recently caught the virus. France's death toll from COVID-19 rose by 348 to 26,994 on Tuesday, overtaking Spain to become the country with the world's fourth highest number of fatalities after United States, Britain and Italy. Official data showed France's COVID-19 casualty rate trailing Spain's closely for several weeks. On the second day after loosening of a nationwide lockdown to curb the spread of coronavirus contagion, President Emmanuel Macron's government reiterated that it was ready to tighten restrictions again if necessary. The French government is also keeping popular Paris parks closed despite calls from mayor to open them to give the people of Paris more space. However, with loosening of the lockdown restrictions, French schools started to reopen their doors to pupils after a strict 8-week-long lockdown and the easing of rules, with the French authorities issuing a 54-page sanitary protocol for cities and schools to comply with before reopening. The students of schools in Paris and southern France city of Nice had to observe new rules, that is, queue 1 meter away from each other before entering class, but also wash their hands regularly and sit at a distance from each other. But in other parts of France, mayors have decided to postpone the reopening of their schools later in the following weeks. Others will keep them closed until further notice. The 86 crew member of Greg Mortimer cruise ship stranded in the Uruguayan waters since March 27 were evacuated to Uruguay on Tuesday following an outbreak of the new coronavirus on board. Now, most of the total 128 passengers originally on board had tested positive on the cruise ship, preventing plans for the ship to travel to the Spanish port of Las Palmas. Further, passengers will be divided into 2 groups based on those who tested positive and provided accommodations. The passengers, mainly from United States, Britain, Sweden, France, Holland, Canada, Switzerland, Australia and New Zealand, were evacuated in